You're sitting in a village pub somewhere in northern Bavaria. The room smells like old wood and fresh bread. A woman behind the bar slides you half a litre of unfiltered lager in a stoneware mug. $2. You take a sip and it's unlike anything you've ever tasted. Rich, smoky, almost meaty. You look around, there are maybe 12 people here, and this village of 300 has its own brewery. But here's the thing, so does the next village over there, and the one after that. Turns out you're sitting in the most brewery-dense place on the entire planet, and the reason it exists is a 1,000-year-old story most beer lovers have never heard. Today we're uncovering why, right here on That's Why. The region is called Upper Franconia, or Oberfranken in German, and if you think of German beer, you're probably picturing Munich, Oktoberfest, giant steins, but the real centre of German brewing sits 200 miles north in a medieval region smaller than Rhode Island. Over 200 independent breweries serve just 1 million people here, producing roughly 1,000 different beers. Picture Vermont making a quarter of all American beer. That's the kind of concentration we're talking about. And the locals? Don't call them Bavarian. They're Franconian, thank you very much. And they've been brewing since the 10th century, when monks and farmers first figured out what barley, water and wild yeast could do together. By the 1300s, brewing was a full-blown industry here, but it wasn't just tradition that locked this region into beer obsession. It was law. On April 23, 1516, two Bavarian dukes decreed that beer could only contain 3 ingredients: barley, hops and water. No additives, no shortcuts, no negotiation. This was the Reinheitsgebot, the famous German beer purity law, and it was so important that Bavaria made the rest of Germany adopt it as a condition for natural unification in 1871. Think about that. One state held an entire country's political future hostage over beer ingredients, and it worked. Now, critics say the Reinheitsgebot kills creativity. You can't brew a Belgian lambic or an American hazy IPA if you're limited to 4 ingredients. But in Upper Franconia, they see it differently. The purity law isn't a cage, it's a dare. How much variety can you squeeze from barley, hops, water and yeast? The answer apparently is 1,000 beers and counting. Keller beers, unfiltered lagers served straight from the cellar. Franconian Dunkels, darker and drier than anything you'd find in Munich. And then there's Rauchbier. But here's where it gets interesting. Rauchbier means smoked beer, and it tastes exactly like that sounds. Liquid smoke, almost like drinking a barbecue. Most people assume it's some craft beer experiment. It's not. It's one of the oldest beer styles on Earth. For over 5,000 years, virtually all beer tasted smoky because malt was dried over open fires. That was just how you made beer. Then in 1635, someone patented the first smoke-free malt drying machine, and gradually the smoky flavour disappeared from brewing worldwide. Except in one city, Bamberg. Why Bamberg? Geography. To the west sits Germany's largest beechwood forest, and beechwood smoke is the secret ingredient in authentic Rauchbier. Bamberg had easier access to it than anywhere else, but there's a stranger reason too. Until 1804, the Catholic Church ran Bamberg like a tiny Vatican City, a medieval city-state where religious conservatism kept old traditions alive and modern methods out. Today, only 2 breweries on the planet, Schlenkerla and Brauerei-Spezial, both in Bamberg, still malt and brew Rauchbier the original way. Schlenkerla has been at it continuously since 1405. They still age their beer in hand-carved rock cellars from the 14th century, deep inside a tunnel system carved beneath Bamberg's hills 7 centuries ago. Slow Food International now lists their Rauchbier in its Ark of Taste, a registry of endangered food traditions worth saving. And then there's the Aufseb, population 1,352. 4 breweries. That's 1 brewery for every 338 residents. It has its own Guinness World Record for brewery density. In many of these villages, the only businesses you'll find are a butcher, a baker and a brewer. Beer isn't commerce here, it's infrastructure. So the next time someone mentions German beer and your mind jumps to Munich, remember there's a region up north smaller than Rhode Island where every village pub pours a beer brewed the same way monks brewed it thousands of years ago. It's not a tourist attraction, it's a living, breathing, stubbornly unchanging brewing civilization that refused to let the modern world rewrite its recipe. If you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe, it really helps the channel, and drop a comment. Would you drink a beer that tastes like smoke? Thanks for watching, That's Why, and I'll catch you in the next one.